In this video, I'm going to find the absolute or global maximum and minimum for the function f of x is equal to cosine of x plus cosine square of x on the closed interval negative pi to pi. Now, to find the absolute or global minimum and maximum for a function, we need to take into consideration the extreme value theorem. The function that is given, it is continuous on this closed interval from negative pi to positive pi. Therefore, there exists absolute maximum and absolute minimum on this interval by extreme value theorem. So extreme value theorem ensures that there are global maximum and global minimum. Now, to find these global values, global extreme values, we follow two steps, very standard steps. So step number one, where we evaluate the functions at the boundary points. So here the boundary points are negative pi and positive pi. So we are going to find f of x equal to negative pi, right? So x equal to negative pi is going to be cosine of negative pi plus cosine of negative pi whole square. Now we know that cosine of negative pi is negative 1 plus negative 1 whole square is going to give me 0. Similarly, evaluate the function at x is equal to pi. Okay, so x is equal to pi. So there's going to be cosine of pi plus cosine of pi whole square. But cosine of pi is negative 1 again plus cosine of pi negative 1 whole square. That is giving me 0 on either end. Okay. Now that I have the values for the function at the boundary points, I need to go to the next step, which is finding the derivative of this function and setting it to 0. What do I do? Why do I do it? Because I need to find the critical points for these functions. So critical points for this function. So what is f prime of x? F prime of x is derivative of cosine of x, which is negative sine of x, plus derivative of cosine square of x. Using the power rule, I get 2 cosine of x, right? Times, using the chain rule, I get negative sine of x. And all of it equal to 0. Now, if I factor out negative sine of x, I get 1 plus 2 cosine of x is equal to 0. If I simplify by dividing or multiplying both sides by negative 1, then what I get is that this negative goes away. So at this point, what I have is product of two numbers. So this is one number, that's another number, is equal to 0. Either the first one is 0, so sine of x is equal to 0. That means x is 0, or x is equal to pi, or x is equal to negative pi. I'm considering pi and negative pi because it's in the domain of the function. However, these values we already have evaluated, so we don't need to worry about them. So x equal to 0 is one value that we are going to talk about. Now let's go ahead and find the other value. So 1 plus 2 cosine of x is equal to 0. If I solve for cosine of x, we get negative 1/2, which, by the way, in our interval, in our domain, is going to be cosine of 2 pi over 3. Also, by the way, x is going to be negative 2 pi over 3. Okay, so these are the two values we need to consider. As it turns out, both of these are going to give us the same value for this function. F of 2 pi over 3 is going to be cosine of 2 pi over 3 plus cosine of 2 pi over 3 whole square. Cosine of 2 pi over 3 is, by the way, negative 1/2, so that's going to give me negative 1/2 plus 1/2 square, which is 1/4, and that's going to give me negative 1/4. Similarly, when you plug in f of negative 2 pi over 3, you remember cosine of negative theta is the same as cosine of theta, right? So this is going to be the same as these guys. So this is going to also give me negative 1/4. I also need to evaluate it for x equal to 0. So f of x equal to 0 is going to give me cosine of 0 plus cosine of 0 whole square, which is going to be 1 plus 1, just 2. So we found the value of the function at the boundary points, which is 0 for negative pi and 0 for positive pi. And then we found the value of the function at 2 pi over 3 and negative 2 pi over 3. Both of them are negative 1/4. And at x equal to 0, it is 2. By looking at all these points, so this, and this, we can see that our absolute or global max happens at this point, x equal to 0. So global max at x is equal to 0, which is 0, comma, the function value is 2, and global mean at, where does it happen? It happens at two places. X is equal to 2 pi over 3 and x is equal to negative 2 pi over 3. And at those 2 points, y value or f of x value is negative 1/4. So to find the absolute or global maximum and minimum for a function, we need to first find the value of the function at the boundary points of the interval, of the closed interval, and then find the critical points by setting the derivative of the function to 0, then evaluate the function at those critical points, then look at all the points you got in step 1 and step 2 and compare them. The highest value in that group is going to be the global maximum, and the lowest value is going to be global minimum. I hope that this discussion was helpful. Thank you very much.